lot to get me angry, but when I am, I just can't let go. People seem a little aggressive around here.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 Amazon film Roadhouse. The film is directed by Doug Liman and it stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Conor McGregor, Billy Magnuson and Daniela Melchior. Right, okay, this is obviously a remake of the 80s classic that starred Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott. And this time we have Jake Gyllenhaal playing Dalton, who is an ex-UFC fighter who has got a dark past, a disgraced past in many ways, is hiding a dark secret, and he's not in a good place at the beginning of the film. He's pretty suicidal, to be fair, and he gets an offer from Frankie, who's got a roadhouse on the Florida Keys that is being trashed night after night by local hoodlums. Initially he's not interested, Dalton, but he realises his life's going nowhere and he needs a change. So he heads out to the Florida Keys and takes up residence at the Roadhouse as their head bouncer. The local gangster, played by Billy Magnuson, Ben Brandt, wants rid of all the businesses so that he can build a resort for his rich friends, and the bar that he is protecting is the only business left that's standing in his way, that puts Dalton on a collision course with the local bad guy and the hired thug, Conor McGregor, who is brought in to deal with Dalton. Right, what are my thoughts on Roadhouse? Well, I think this one is going to divide people. I want to say that straight away, because there's a lot of people with a great deal of affection for the original, and I'm one of them. I love the original Roadhouse. It's one of those guilty pleasure movies, classic 80s action films, that just never fails to disappoint no matter how often you watch it. Perfect casting. Swayze, Sam Elliott, Bangazara. I mean, you can go on and on and on. I mean, it's sizzling, it's sexy, it's, violent. It's everything you could have wanted from a movie of that era. So to remake Roadhouse was a bold move, I think. And then the warning signs started to appear when you started seeing things like, it's not going to theatres, it's going straight to Amazon. And that always feels like a negative. If a film's going straight to streaming, it's kind of like, they've no confidence in it. That's why they're not putting it on the cinema. So I kind of was going into this with reasonably lowered expectations, but hopeful that it was going to be a good film. And while I do suspect there are going to be some people out there that are going to, trash this film or not enjoy it for whatever reason, and there are a lot of weaknesses here that I'm going to talk about, a lot of problems, I actually found the film really quite entertaining. Does it stand up to the original? No, I don't think so. But it shares the DNA of the original and it follows the bones of the story, but it also does enough to kind of stand on its own 2 feet as a strong remake, in my opinion. Now let's talk about the positives first. Now, the biggest positive of this film is Jake Gyllenhaal, who I think is excellent as Dalton. He is in incredible shape. We all saw the pictures going around on social media when he was filming this. He looks in incredible shape, and you have to take your hat off to him for the physical effort he put into, not only to get in shape, but clearly to pull off the convincing fight scenes in this film, because he does. He comes across as really badass in this film, and perfectly, in a lot of ways, mirrors the Swayze performance. It's different, obviously. I'm not saying they're the same performance, but there's the spirit of Swayze's Dalton in Jake Gyllenhaal's performance, I think, and I think it's easily the best thing about the film. The fight scenes are, I think, superb. I was a little worried with it being Doug Liman that he was going to go for the old shaky cam thing, because he did do, obviously, the Bourne Identity. And while there's a little bit of that, it's not, for the most part, shaky cam bollocks. It's brutal, uncompromising, hand-to-hand combat that is just fabulously done, I think. And I enjoyed the fight scenes here, and I thought they were incredibly well done and well choreographed. And Jake Gyllenhaal more than hold his own with the likes of Conor McGregor. The location's nice, like the fresh location, like the Florida Keys. I thought that was a nice way to freshen it up, rather than like the dusty southern town that they kind of had in the first Roadhouse film. This, it gives it that exotic feel, which I quite liked. And it really did, I think, share the DNA of the first one, and I thought it was shot quite well. And there was actually a few lighter moments in this provided by some of the smaller characters, and even Jake Gyllenhaal as Dalton. He had some cracking one-liners. I mean, there's one scene where he's having a scrap with someone, with Conor McGregor's character, actually, Knox. And he crashes against a piano, and the piano's making all these noises, and Jake Gyllenhaal, in the middle of it, just says, "This piano's out of tune." And it was just like, Conor McGregor then says, I like, somewhat along the lines of, I like the tune it's making, because he was bashing his head against it. So it's got some funny, witty one-liners along the way as well, so it kind of lightens it when it needs to. Now, in regards to weaknesses, there's no Sam Elliott replacement here in this film, and I honestly think it needed somebody like that, a mentor figure for him, as in the first one, because there is a decision that Jake Gyllenhaal makes in this film, or Dalton makes in this film, that makes him take his violence to the next level. Now, it's a similar thing, if you like, to Dalton in the first film, where Dalton killed someone in his past, and it's tortured him. Very similar. It's very similar with both of these characters in both these films. But Dalton, if you like, in the 80s version, Patrick Swayze's, he does kill somebody near the end of the film, but again, it almost crushes him. And he does kind of go on a bit of a killing spree, I know. But here in this film, what kind of pushed Swayze to do that in that film was the death of Sam Elliott. Sorry, spoilers. And the relentless, harassment and destruction of the locals' property and stuff. Whereas this time round, he's just about to leave town, sort of thing, and then something happens to someone that he's built a relationship with, not a romantic one, that pushes him over the edge. And it didn't feel enough. It needed, if you like, I think, the death of a central character that was really close to him to push him over that edge. And I don't think we've really got it in this film. What made him kind of go to that next level of willing to kill people, for me, wasn't strong enough or powerful enough. Now then, I want to talk about Conor McGregor. I suppose it's fair to say that his performance is memorable, but I'm not sure it's for all the right reasons. Obviously, he's a great choice as an adversary for Dalton in this film, and the fight scenes I don't have an issue with. They both feel like equals, and that's what the film needed. He needed that big battle with someone of similar abilities to him, Dalton. But McGregor's acting, it's appalling. Really over the top. And I know, obviously, he isn't an actor. It's not his main profession. But he needed toning down a little bit. He's just massively over the top, and obviously he's got in shape for this film. I was about to say incredible shape, but I don't think he is in incredible shape because he looks ridiculous. He's obviously put on a lot of muscle to get in this film, to be in this film, to make him a credible threat. And the way he's walking in this film is walking like, if you go to a local gym, any of you guys watching this that go to the gym regular and you walk in there, you'll see a few prats in the corners walking around with, coat hangers in their arms, thinking they're huge and, really muscular and strong. That's what McGregor, how he walks in this film, it's ridiculous. So it's definitely a memorable performance, and he's more than capable of doing the fight scenes. But his character knocks are hated, and I just thought there were some poor decisions in regards to that character. And somebody, I mean, I know this is Conor McGregor, but this being his first film, and it's someone like Doug Liman directing, I'm sure somebody could have took him to one side and said, "Will you just dial it down to 9 instead of up to 15, please?" So I'm not sure how to take the Conor McGregor performance. And the love interest this time round for Dalton, Ellie she's called, the in regards to the original, the spark's just not there really. I didn't feel at all. But these are niggly things. These, I think, are some of the things they got wrong. I think it's important to point out that I do think they got an awful lot right. I thought this was entertaining, fun, to stick on a Friday night with a few beers and a takeaway, and you'll probably enjoy this one. If you are deeply protective of the original, I have no doubt you'll probably hate this one. Is it the best remake you're ever going to watch? No, but I think it is a good attempt to mirror the first one and give us a credible remake of that 80s cheesy classic. So those are my thoughts on Roadhouse. I've probably going to watch it again this weekend with my wife, because I kind of rush watched it last night because I wanted to get it watched as soon as possible. And she's a fan of the first one as well, so I'll be interested to see what my wife's thoughts are on that too. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to call back on the channel for plenty more reviews and content very, very soon.